Dear students, in this session we discuss stages of production. We divide the short-run production function into three stages. Now consider stage 1. Stage 1 includes a portion of marginal product curve that is declining. A portion of marginal product curve that is declining, and in this stage MB is greater than AP. MB is greater than AP, so that AP is rising. In terms of the graph, the first stage is the stage from the origin up to point C. And in this stage, MB is greater than AP. Now, as long as AP is rising, a firm will add variable inputs. A firm will add variable inputs. For example, if it is profitable to hire a worker at a certain level of productivity and at a fixed price, it is profitable to hire additional workers yielding higher average productivity. Remember this, in our model, price of labor, wage is assumed fixed. So if it is profitable to employ a labor with a certain level of productivity represented by AP, it is profitable to add additional workers as AP is increasing. So, because additional input means an increase in productivity, so it is profitable. Now, in the area of rising AP, fixed inputs are present in uneconomically large proportion relative to variable inputs. Or we will say that variable input is limited relative to fixed inputs. That is, in the first stage, variable input is limited relative to fixed input. So a profit maximizing producer never operate in the first stage. Never operate in the first stage because it is always profitable to add more workers, more variable inputs as productivity increases and as variable input is limited relative to fixed inputs. And if market conditions dictate such a small level of output, then the firm will not operate in the short run. Suppose that only a small amount of output can be produced, so that the firm is forced to produce in the first stage, then it will not operate in the short run. And if necessary, it will produce in the long run using fewer or less amount of fixed inputs. Because in the long run, fixed inputs become variable. Fixed inputs become variable. So in the long run, the firm will reduce the size of fixed inputs and operate with fewer inputs. And as fixed inputs are reduced, the entire product curve shift towards the left, so that stage 1 starts at a lower level of operation of variable input. Instead of 9, first stage begin at a lower level of variable input. So a profit maximizing firm never operate in the first stage. Using the same reasoning, we can say that a profit maximizing firm never operate in the third stage because marginal product of the variable input is negative. And why? In the third stage, total product is declining as more variable input is added. So even if variable inputs are free, a rational firm, a profit maximizing firm will not employ a level of output where marginal product is 0. So third stage is the stage where MBL is 0 and beyond. Now in the second stage, the variable input is combined with the fixed inputs in economically large proportions. And if market conditions dictate expansion of output beyond the current level of output based on fixed inputs, then the firm will use additional units of fixed inputs so that the entire production function will shift towards the right, and the third stage will start only at a higher level of usage of the variable input. So as a firm operates in the second stage of production, both AP and MB are positive and declining. AP and MB are positive and declining. And depending on the firm's cost of variable inputs, price received for output, firm will use higher level of some inputs in the second stage. As we will see later, the Cobb-Douglas production function is always characterized by second stage. Now what we say is, in the short run, stages of production are used to demarcate uneconomic region from economic region. The only economic region relevant for production in the short run is the second stage, where both the MBL and APL decline but remain positive. So the first stage, and also remember this, classification of the short run production function into different stages is not based on increasing returns, diminishing returns, constant returns or negative returns. It is based on what is economically feasible and what is not. Not based on increasing returns, constant returns, diminishing returns and negative returns to the variable input, but based on economically feasible and economically not feasible region. And this is all about stages of production.